The boardroom smelled like old money and fresh ambition. Marcus Webb stood just outside the glass doors, 42 years old, work boots still dusty from the job site, holding a crumpled invoice that his construction crew desperately needed paid. His company, small, scrappy, built with 12 years of calluses and sacrifice, had completed phase 1 of the Harlow Tower renovation. Today was supposed to be simple. Walk in, get the check, walk out. His 7-year-old daughter, Lily, waited in the truck downstairs with a half-eaten granola bar and her favorite dinosaur book. He'd promised her pizza after. He'd promised her a lot of things lately, and for once, he was actually keeping them. Marcus straightened his jacket, the one good blazer he owned, and pushed open the door. The room silenced. At the head of the long obsidian table sat a woman who commanded the air itself. Dark blazer, sharp shoulders, a presence that made a 50-floor building feel small. She was mid-sentence, speaking with the kind of controlled authority that people spend decades trying to manufacture. Marcus wasn't looking at her face though. He was looking at her hand. Specifically, her right hand, resting on the table. The way it caught the light. The small, silver band wrapped around her ring finger, etched with 2 initials and a tiny star. His throat closed. He knew that ring. He'd made that ring. 16 years dissolved in 3 seconds. Marcus stood frozen in the doorway like a man who'd just walked through a wall and found another world on the other side. A colleague nudged his arm, someone from his contractor liaison team, whispering that the CEO didn't appreciate late entrances. Marcus nodded but didn't move. Not yet. Her name, according to every document his assistant had ever handed him, was Victoria Harlow. CEO of Harlow Development Group. Net worth somewhere north of $400 million. The kind of woman whose name was on buildings, airport lounges, charitable foundations. She'd built an empire before 40. But Marcus knew a different name. He knew Vicky Caldwell, the girl from Ridgewood Trailer Park who wore oversized flannels and read poetry by flashlight because her mother never paid the electric bill on time. The girl who could make a meal out of rice and canned tomatoes and somehow make it taste like Sunday. The girl who had laughed so hard once at a county fair that she'd knocked over a lemonade stand and paid for every single cup out of the $6 she had left to her name. They'd grown up side by side in a town that forgot people like them the moment they left. At 17, the summer before everything fell apart, Marcus had taken his grandfather's silver band, too small for any adult finger, hammered it carefully on a rock, shaped it with borrowed tools, and etched their initials with a nail, M+V. And a tiny star, because Vicky had said stars were proof that broken things could still shine. She'd promised to wear it forever. He'd believed her. Then she was gone. Mr. Webb. Her voice cut across the room like a scalpel. Marcus blinked. She was looking directly at him now, cool, professional, utterly composed. Those same dark eyes he'd once known like a map of home, but shuddered now behind something practiced and impenetrable. If she recognized him, she hid it like a professional gambler hides a royal flush. "We've been waiting." She gestured to an empty chair near the far end of the table. "Please, sit." He sat. The meeting moved forward. Budgets. Timelines. Revised contracts. Marcus answered every question on autopilot, his voice steady even as his mind screamed. He caught himself staring at her hand twice. The third time, he forced his eyes to the window and kept them there. When the formal portion wrapped, assistants shuffled papers and people trickled out in clusters of conversation. Marcus gathered his folder and stood to leave. That was the smart move, the clean move, but her voice stopped him again. "Mr. Webb. A moment, please." The last few people filed out. The glass door whispered shut. Silence. She stood at the window now, her back to him, looking out at the city below. 40 stories of it, gray and glittering. When she turned around, something had shifted in her expression. Not much. Just enough. "You're staring at my ring," she said quietly. His jaw tightened. Old habit. A long pause stretched between them like a held breath. "How's your father?" she asked. "Dead," he said. 3 years ago. "How's yours?" Her chin lifted slightly. "Same." They stood on opposite sides of the room like two people who'd survived the same shipwreck and weren't sure yet if the other one was still dangerous. "You should have said something," Marcus said. "When I walked in." "So should you." I didn't know you were Victoria Harlow until 30 seconds before I walked through that door. I thought I was meeting some." He stopped himself. "Some what?" Her voice was measured, but her eyes were doing something else entirely. "Some rich woman who wouldn't understand construction invoices?" "That's not what I was going to say." "Then say what you were going to say, Marcus." His name in her mouth knocked something loose in his chest. He hadn't heard it like that in 16 years, not clipped or professional, but full, the way she used to say it when it was just the two of them on the roof of her building watching freight trains pass in the dark. "I was going to say some stranger," he finished quietly. She looked away first. "I go by Victoria now. Have for a long time." "I know. I read the file." "Then you know enough." "Vicky, Victoria." Sharp. Final. But her hand moved slightly, the hand with the ring, and her fingers curled inward, almost unconsciously, like she was protecting it. Marcus noticed. He was always good at noticing the things she didn't mean to show. "Why are you still wearing it?" he asked. The question sat in the room like a lit match. She didn't answer. But she didn't leave, either. She poured 2 glasses of water from the credenza, something to do with her hands, Marcus suspected, and set one on the table near him without making eye contact. "I left because I had to," she said finally. "Not because I wanted to. You were 17. We both were." Marcus sat on the edge of the conference table, the invoice folder forgotten on the chair. "I know that. I've known that for a long time." She turned. Something in her expression cracked, just slightly, like frost on a window when the heat inside finally wins. "My mother got sick. Right after graduation. I had nothing, Marcus. Nothing. I couldn't stay in Ridgewood and watch everything collapse around me. I needed to move. I needed to become someone who could actually." She stopped. Swallowed. "I didn't call because calling would have made it impossible to go." He nodded slowly. He'd reconstructed this story across 1,000 sleepless nights. Hearing her say it out loud was somehow both better and worse than all his imagined versions combined. "I had a daughter," he said. She went very still. "Her name is Lily. She's 7. He pulled out his phone, more on instinct than intention, and slid it across the table. A little girl with gap-toothed smile, messy braids, dinosaur shirt, laughing at something off camera. Victoria looked at the photo for a long time. "She's beautiful," she whispered. "She's the only reason I kept going," he said honestly. "After her mom left, after Dad died, Lily's the whole thing for me." Victoria slid the phone back gently. Her thumb, Marcus noticed, had briefly touched the edge of Lily's photo. "I need to tell you something." Victoria's voice had dropped to just above a whisper. She moved to the window again. That window seemed to be her refuge, the place she went when the ground shifted. "Something I should have told you a long time ago, but I convinced myself that staying silent was a kindness." Marcus waited. She pressed her fingers flat against the glass, looking out. "When I left Ridgewood, I was pregnant." The word landed like a stone into still water. Marcus didn't move. Didn't breathe. "I was 4 weeks along. I didn't know until I was already in Columbus, already crashing on a stranger's couch, already trying to figure out how to exist with $11 and a duffel bag." She turned to face him. Her composure was still there, but barely, like a candle in a strong wind. "I was terrified. I was alone. And I made a decision that I have spent every single day of my life second-guessing." "Vicky, I lost the baby," she said quietly. 8 weeks in. "So the decision ended up being made for me, in the cruelest way possible." A long pause. "But I want you to know that I would have told you. Eventually. I think. I want to believe I would have." Marcus realized he'd stood up without deciding to. He was across the room now, standing close enough to see the effort it took her to hold herself together. "You carried that alone," he said. "I've carried most things alone." She said it without self-pity. "Just fact." "The ring," he said softly. "That's why you kept it." She looked down at her hand. It was the last piece of something that felt real. Something shifted in Marcus then, something that had been grief for a decade and a half reconfigured itself into anger. Because grief needs somewhere to go when it's been compressed long enough. "You should have called me," he said. His voice was low, controlled, but his hands were trembling. "Whatever happened, whatever decision you were facing, you should have called me. I would have come, Vicky. You knew I would have come. I know. She didn't flinch from it. Then why? The word came out raw. Why did you let me spend 16 years thinking you just didn't care? That I was just some trailer park kid you left behind when something better came along? Do you know what that does to a person? Yes, she said, voice fracturing. Because I did it to myself too. That's not the same thing. No. It's not. She pressed her fingers to her eyes for a moment, an unguarded, exhausted gesture. I was 19 years old, I had just lost a pregnancy by myself in a city where no one knew my name, and I didn't know how to call you and say those words without destroying both of us. So I kept moving because stopping meant feeling it, and feeling it meant, her voice broke. She steadied it. It meant accepting what I'd thrown away. The silence that followed was the loudest Marcus had ever heard. He wanted to stay angry. He'd earned that anger, carried it like a second spine for 16 years. But standing here, watching Victoria Harlow, who could level a room with a single glance, try not to come apart, the anger just couldn't hold its shape. He exhaled. Long, slow. I'm sorry, he said. About the baby. She nodded once, quickly, and looked at the ceiling to keep herself together. I want to show you something, Marcus said. He reached into the inside pocket of his blazer, the good blazer, the one he only wore for important days, and pulled out a small, folded piece of paper. He held it out. She took it carefully and unfolded it. It was a pencil drawing, clearly made by a child. 2 stick figures standing under a sky full of lopsided stars, one tall, one small. At the bottom, in uneven handwriting, Daddy says stars are broken things that still shine. I think that's me and him. Victoria stared at it for a long time. Lily drew that, Marcus said. Last year, after I told her something my grandfather used to say. Something I once passed along to someone else. Her hand, the hand with the ring, was shaking slightly now. You told her about the stars, Victoria whispered. The good things don't disappear, he said. They just find new places to live. She looked up at him, and for the first time since he'd walked into that boardroom, he saw the girl from Ridgewood completely, not hidden behind the blazer and the empire and the armor of everything she'd become, but there, wholly there, the way she used to be on rooftops at midnight when neither of them had anything but each other and the freight trains and the dark. I'm scared, she admitted. Barely a sound. I know. He nodded gently. Me too. He didn't reach for her hand. Didn't push. Some things couldn't be rushed, not after 16 years, not after everything carried and lost and survived. But he didn't look away, either. 3 months later, Lily Webb sat in a high-back chair that was approximately 6 times too large for her, swinging her legs and eating the fancy mints from the glass bowl on Victoria's desk like they were her personal property. She's going to eat 40 of those, Marcus said from the doorway, watching with fond exasperation. I've already eaten 11, Lily announced, without looking up from the dinosaur book in her lap. Victoria laughed, a real laugh, unguarded and full, and Marcus realized that sound was the same. 16 years and 40 floors up and $100 million later, and her laugh was exactly the same. They'd been taking it slowly. Coffee first. Then a walk. Then dinner where Lily had interviewed Victoria with the intensity of a congressional hearing, asking questions like what's your favorite dinosaur and do you know how to whistle and why do you wear that ring? To the last question, Victoria had looked at Marcus, then back at Lily, and said simply, because someone made it for me when I needed reminding that I mattered. Lily had accepted this with a solemn nod, as if it was the correct answer she'd been waiting for. Today, Marcus had come to sign the final contract, the full tower renovation, Phase 1 through 4, Webb construction. Biggest project of his career. Life-changing. But as he stepped into the office and watched Lily offer Victoria a mint with the gravity of a child offering a crown jewel, and watched Victoria accept it like it was one, he understood that the contract wasn't the thing. The thing was this room. This moment. The broken pieces, still shining. On her right hand, the little silver ring caught the afternoon light, 2 initials, 1 tiny star, and Marcus Webb smiled for the first time in a very long time like a man who finally, after 16 years, was exactly where he was supposed to be. Har seen Klaya image ka prompt du girl off shoulder dress ma ho.